The house felt strange without my parents. Their absence left an oppressive stillness, broken only by the occasional creak of the old floorboards under my feet. I hadn't visited much in recent years, not since I moved away after college. Now, after their sudden deaths in a car wreck, I was back to sort through our things. An attic full of memories awaited me. I didn't relish this obligation. As an only child, I was torn between not caring enough to look through absolutely everything and honoring my parents by taking the time to do things right. The wooden stairs groaned as I climbed into the dim attic. Dust hung in the air, disturbed only by my solitary circuit through the corridor between stacks of plastic bins and repurposed cardboard boxes. The space was stuffed, filled with decades of keepsakes, photographs, and things they didn't have the heart to throw away. I didn't know where to begin. One box, my Boy Scout sash and merit badges. Another, the Christmas tree ornaments my mom had taken out of rotation over the years. Then, I found a small, unmarked box. It was different from the others. It was entirely blank, plain cardboard with no label. Most of the others were old appliance boxes or wine crates. This one stood out, despite being tucked into a corner, as though it had been deliberately set back from the rest. Inside were old VHS tapes, each labeled with handwritten dates. They spanned from around the time I was born until I was about 10 years old. I had loads to get done, and had accomplished approximately nothing so far. But sentiment got the best of me. I dusted off the old VCR that still sat in the attic and carried it down to the family room. After deftly connecting the cords with muscle memory I developed as your average teenager obsessed with TV and movies, I popped in the first tape. The screen flickered to life, and there they were, my parents, much younger, standing in the living room of this very house. My mother laughed, holding a baby in her arms. I felt a pang of nostalgia. They passed months ago, but I hadn't seen a video of my mom since she died, let alone a video of her cradling me as a baby. As she turned, my heart pounded once and seemed to stop. The baby was not me. It was an uncanny and disturbing moment as I looked aghast at a baby with fiery red hair. The panic burned in my chest, but abated quickly. Of course, I thought. This must have been a cousin or a family friend. I chuckled at my self-absorption, but couldn't deny how shocked I'd been. I put in another tape. My dad, adorned with a mustache he'd stopped wearing by the late 90s, was tossing the same red-head baby gently in a pile of leaves. Who was that baby? Now filled with real panic and disorientation, I rifled through the box for more and more tapes. The baby, and later this child, was the one my parents were raising in all the tapes. He had my mother's soft curls, my father's sharp nose, but he wasn't me. I switched tapes, my heart pounding faster with each one. Every home video, every birthday, every family event featured the same child. A boy who looked eerily like me, but wasn't. His blaze of red hair would never be mistaken for mine. Blonde, with some brown. The labels matched the years of my childhood. Yet I was absent from every frame of the tapes. It was as if I had never existed in their lives. I rewound one, searching for answers. It was a birthday party. My birthday. Or it should have been. There was cake, balloons, and my parents singing happy birthday. But instead of my name, they used his. Happy birthday, Thomas, they sang, while I watched in mute horror. Who was Thomas? Frantic now, I sifted through the remaining tapes, hoping to find some explanation. I played one from when I should have been 5. There was my father, teaching Thomas how to ride a bike. My mother clapped proudly as Thomas pedaled down the driveway. Again, no sign of me. My mind raced. Why had they replaced me with this child? Had they always seen him instead of me? Or was this some sick, twisted prank? I half jogged back up to the attic, determined to find the means to dismiss this as a misunderstanding. The attic looked the same, but I suddenly felt like this wasn't my own family's house. The quiet and solitude that had felt warmly nostalgic before now seemed ominous and strange. A sudden creak on the floor below the attic made me flinch and duck my head. I think I half expected the hand of a red-headed child to reach from behind a pile of boxes and grip my ankle. But I was still alone. I wondered just how alone I really was, had been, for years now. Did I even know my parents? I rummaged through more boxes, desperate for answers. Finally, I found a photo album tucked beneath a box of books. Inside were snapshots of my childhood years, or what should have been. But instead of me, every picture featured Thomas. In one, he was sitting on my mother's lap, in front of a Christmas tree. In another, he held my father's hand at the zoo. It was as if he had lived my entire life in my place. I stumbled upon a single photograph that stopped me cold. It was dated from the day I was born. My mother lay in a hospital bed, holding a newborn baby. Thomas. My father beamed beside them, his hand resting protectively on my mother's shoulder. The date on the back was unmistakable. It was my birthday. Panicked, I rushed downstairs to search for something, anything, that proved my existence. In my mom's office, she'd kept a fire safe for important things. I found my birth certificate, my high school diploma, an expired passport. But none of them mentioned Thomas. According to every document here, I was their child. Yet, with everything I found in the attic, the home videos, the photos, the memories captured in real time, it was always this other child. That night, I lay in the bed in my old room, unable to sleep. I tossed and turned, my sheets twisting into a sweaty rope. I pivoted wildly between outrage and grief. Above everything was the fear that I was losing my grip on reality. I felt as if my history was unraveling around me. Who was I, if not their child? What had they done with me? In the quiet of the early morning, I heard a soft tapping on my bedroom door. I was nearly asleep, and for an irrational moment, I was sure it was my mom. The sound was just like when she'd come to the door to wake me for school. I shook off the half-sleep clouding my head and focused my eyes on the door. Light from the hall window spilled underneath. I could see a pair of feet blocking the light in two small patches where the bottom of the door met the floor. I stopped breathing and froze, transfixed on that spot under the door. A second knock didn't come. Instead, a small voice bled through the threshold. "Hello?" it whispered. I tasted iron in my mouth, blood pounded in my ears. Saying nothing, I remained still, petrified in this moment that felt like a waking nightmare. The doorknob squeaked once and snapped back into its resting place, as if whoever was outside was afraid to make noise. A terrible moment passed. Then, in one impossibly fluid motion, the door swung open. Standing in the threshold was a boy. Thomas. "Hello," he whispered, his voice soft and sweet, yet somehow hollow. "I'm so glad you're back." I couldn't move, paralyzed by fear and confusion. This was all impossible, yet it was happening. He stepped closer, his small feet silent on the floor. His eyes wide and dark, gleamed with something I couldn't place. Something antique, something wrong. "They said you'd come back," he continued, smiling faintly. "Now we can be a family again." I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. The boy took 4 steps into the room, almost sliding instead of actually contacting the floor. His steps made no sound. I sat reared up against the wall as his minute fingertips grazed the edge of the bed frame, inches from my feet. "It never bothered me when you used the bed for all those years. And now, here you are again. and it's just the two of us. I threw my hands over my face and rubbed furiously at my eyes, trying anything I could to erase this moment. I could still feel it staring into me, wanting something, but I couldn't speak. Suddenly, I heard the click of the doorknob. Waiting another beat, I peeked between my fingers. The room was empty. The only sound was my ragged breath, struggling to slow, now loud against the empty silence and dark. I fled the house without even dressing. I left the tapes, the photos, and the ghost, or whatever Thomas was now, behind. I told myself I'd hire a firm to clear out the house eventually, although it struck me that running from the house was not going to help. As I drove off, and the house I'd grown up in slipped over the hillside behind me, I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still there, waiting among my parents' lonely possessions, wandering around, biding his time. As I feared, leaving the house achieved nothing. Even now, years later, I see him. His eyes, those odd, piercing eyes, flash in the face of a stranger. I'll catch a glimpse of them in a crowd, and for a heartbeat, I'm paralyzed, gripped by that same dread. Sometimes it's worse. Like in my house, I might spot him in the background of a TV show, staring out from a darkened corner, his gaze locking onto mine through the screen. On those nights, I unplug the TV, but it's never enough. Weeks pass, sometimes months, with no sign of him, and I'll start to believe he's gone. But then, just as the thought crosses my mind, there he is, looking, waiting. He never really left. And deep down, I know that one day he'll stop waiting and finally come for me.